And we're live.
But see, that's always felt like people who have any kind of if you're recognized at all for something that you something that you provide, right? Like people are fans of you, right? Like people were never fans of me. They were always just fans of what I did. So it was the most disingenuous. I never got into fame because of that reason. I always thought it was very fickle and it was just a facade. It wasn't a real thing because they weren't like my intellect or who I was as a human. They were never fans of. They were just a fan of me running away from grown men.
Yeah, I see that. But so it would impact you differently if like you have a podcast now that blows up and they start liking that about you.
Right.
Then it's different.
That totally changed because then you like me and it's more genuine. It's way more genuine, and a lot of the expectations of fame change then because then they recognize you as a human being rather than just their entertainment.
You know what's different? Like there's a gigantic information imbalance, right? People have been. I started my channel in 2009, right? And I've been talking about thoughts and feelings or whatever for 9 years now. So sometimes I meet someone and they know a lot about me, but I know nothing about them.
Yeah.
And that can be kind of a weird way to start off a conversation.
Weirdest shit ever. Like somebody will come up to you and they'll be like, "Hey man, remember what?" And you're like, "Fam, I've never seen you before in my life, and now I'm in fight or flight mode. So you need to come."
But he's close to you, right? Because he knows your deal.
Yeah, they think they know you, and that's weird for me because I grew up like when people stare at you, that's like an act of aggression. So that's how I grew up, right? So people stare at you, it's an act of aggression, or just to be cautious around crowded areas because you just never know. And I grew up with that mentality, and so like when all of a sudden people are coming up to you, like my first reaction is like, "What the fuck is this?" And then you kind of get used. So I'm used to it now. But at first, that transition was hard for me.
How long did it take you to get used to that until when you saw people approaching, you're like, oh, they just recognize me from the NFL?
It's probably it was probably in college when I started being like, all right, it's cool now. I remember to this day, I feel so bad, man. I've actually never said this story, but because I felt it was a shitty move and it was one of the worst. I wish I never did it.
But we'll be the judge of that.
It's shitty, bro.
You might be fine in this crowd.
It's shitty, and I apologize. And so anyway. I was super drunk. I was in college. I was super drunk. It was my senior year. And for no reason, man, this dude, they pull up on us. And I was like having a bad day and I was already drunk and it was just bad. And this dude pulls up on us and he goes, "Hey, Arian Foster." And I'm like, "What?" And I just slap him. Open hand, face, slap him. No questions asked. Just wailed on him. And my dude grabbed me. He's like, "Yo, he was a fan. He's a fan." I was like, "I don't give a fuck." I was just drunk. And they told me this next day. I remember him pulling up, but I don't remember everything.
In a car?
It was in a car.
In the driver's seat and you hit him.
And he pulled up. And the next day I felt so bad. I've spent years trying to find this dude to apologize. And when I was in the NFL, I was like tweeting. I was like, I would take him to a game. It's on me. I'll fly you out, put you up. I felt that bad about it because it was just a shitty move, but it was just like a reaction that I had control over it, but not necessarily because I was drunk. It was just a bad move, and I felt terrible about it. And it goes to your point of saying like somebody running up on you. When I wasn't in my I'm a public figure mind frame, I was in just an aggressive, like 19-year-old testosterone-filled kid. Like, you running up on me, I'm gonna slap you.
Well, unless you've been a fan, you don't really know if they feel pain or not.
That's true. They're like fish.
Fish fans.
So when he pulled up in the car, did he get out of the car and come towards you, or did you like reach into the driver's side and give him a whap?
I reached in the car.
Reached in the car and he gave.
My thought process was, I'm not gonna let him try anything crazy. I'm gonna let him know what it is. I was a stupid kid. Like bravado back then was just on 10. So I just didn't think a lot of things through, man. So I did a lot of stupid shit, and that was really to this day I regret that. I don't have a lot of regrets in life, but I regret that, man, because he didn't do anything, and he probably hates me to this day.
Sometimes
assault or be assaulted. It was a preemptive.
And the statute of limitations is out, or else I'll probably be getting a letter from his lawyer.
That's hilarious. Poor guy.
It's-
He was probably just like, oh man,
Yeah,
Arian,
exactly.
my favorite player, Arian. Hey, how is? Ow,
Oh,
ow!
terrible.
Did I get his name wrong? Was I talking to the wrong guy? Like,
Just
Arian, that's a
shitty, man.
Nazi thing. How could you?
I Sig Heiled him and everything.
I feel bad. I feel bad, man.
Dude, I worry about that. So, all right. God, I hate talking about paramotors, but I fly paramotors. It's a very, very small community. Not many people do. And I make videos about it. So in this tiny, tiny world, I'm pretty well known. And I went to a fly-in where all the people get together. And I'm super aware of the fact that, like, even though I'm busy, I might be stressed. I might be about to launch and I'm like pre-flighting my equipment, trying to make sure I'm going to be okay. When they're saying hello, that's going to stick with them. That's going to be their impression of me, right? They've watched my videos for hours and hours. And now they're like, in real life, Woody's a dick. And I worry so much about that happening, that every interaction has to be like the best version of me. You know, hey, how are you? Tell me about this. Because God, I would hate it. You know, like I hear
Can't do that though.
Ben Affleck mean to some guy in craft services. That made it to me. You know, like how far has that story traveled?
But you can't, and it's just I don't think you can live like that though, because it's not genuine to yourself. And I think once you start being dishonest to yourself, then you're gonna end up unhappy at the end of the day. So like the fastest track to unhappiness is trying to please everybody, and you can't. Like sometimes you wake up and you have a shitty day, right? And so when somebody comes up to you super happy, you're like, hey man, I appreciate it. I'm just not having a very good day, whatever the case may be. Like you don't owe anybody anything, man. I know it's the right thing to do, but like if you run around trying to be super nice, Mr. Rogers all day, that's gonna fuck with you because you're not like
right,
that.
but I'm only famous 2 days a year at a fly-in. You know.
Well, then you gotta suck that shit up.
yeah.
Yeah, very easy to pass judgment on how an actual famous person needs to act when I've never experienced that. It's like, well, you should be courteous and like. Well, I mean, I don't think I'm out of line in saying that you shouldn't open hand slap people
That's true.
that
true.
approach you.
We
But yeah,
still
you
don't
also
know-
don't need to be like carrying on 20-minute conversations with everyone because that would get exhausting.
Yeah, it would. We still don't know if fans have feelings yet, so it's the science isn't clear on that one yet.
Yeah, until those studies come in, assume not. Yeah.
Nah, I feel shitty about that to this day, man. It's bad.